The Mask of Evil, the Ted Bundy story. The late 1960s were a time of transformation in America. As cultural revolutions swept through the nation, as the Vietnam War raged overseas, and as Woodstock defined a generation, something far darker was beginning in the Pacific Northwest. A young man with brown hair and a disarming smile was embarking on what would become one of the most horrific killing sprees in American history. Theodore Robert Bundy. The name would eventually become synonymous with the worst kind of evil, not just for the brutality of his crimes, but for the stark contrast between the man the public saw and the monster that lurked beneath. What made Bundy uniquely terrifying was his ability to appear completely normal, charming even. He wasn't a shadowy figure lurking in dark alleys. He walked among everyday people in broad daylight, his monstrosity concealed behind a carefully crafted veneer of normalcy. Handsome, articulate, and intelligent, Bundy was a law student who worked on political campaigns and even volunteered at a suicide prevention hotline. He was the kind of young man parents would be pleased to see their daughter bring home. But behind this meticulous facade was a predator of the most dangerous kind. Bundy's killing spree is believed to have begun in the late 1960s, though most of his confirmed murders occurred between 1974 and 1978. His victims shared similar characteristics: young women with long, dark hair parted in the middle, many of them college students. His methodology was as calculated as it was cruel. He would approach women in public places, often pretending to be injured with his arm in a sling or on crutches. Sometimes he'd pose as an authority figure. He'd ask for help, playing on their kindness. And once he had gained their trust, he would attack with shocking brutality. The true number of Bundy's victims may never be known. Before his execution, he confessed to 36 murders, but some investigators believe the actual count could exceed 100. What is certain is that his trail of destruction spanned multiple states: Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, and finally, Florida. Those who encountered Bundy and lived to tell about it often shared the same haunting observation. There was nothing about him that set off alarm bells. He seemed so normal. This ordinariness is perhaps what remains most disturbing about Bundy: the realization of how commonplace evil can appear. After evading capture multiple times, including 2 dramatic prison escapes that showcased his cunning, Bundy's final violent rampage took place in Florida in January 1978. In one night of unrestrained savagery, he broke into Florida State University's Chi Omega sorority house, attacking 4 young women and killing 2 of them, Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy. Just weeks later, he committed his final known murder, the abduction and killing of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, a crime that showed his depravity had reached new depths. Bundy was finally captured in February 1978 after being pulled over in a stolen vehicle. His subsequent trials captivated the nation, not least because Bundy, with his legal background, chose to represent himself in court. It was unprecedented. A man charged with horrific crimes, standing before judge and jury, essentially performing. He was playing a role to the very end, demonstrating the same manipulative skills he had used to lure his victims. Despite overwhelming evidence against him, Bundy maintained his innocence for years. It was only in his final days, as his execution date approached, that he began to confess, possibly in a desperate attempt to delay the inevitable. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed via electric chair at Florida State Prison. Outside the prison walls, crowds cheered and set off fireworks in a macabre celebration. But for the families of his victims, there could never be true closure, only an end to one chapter of their ongoing grief. Decades later, the case of Ted Bundy continues to fascinate and horrify us. Perhaps because it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that evil doesn't always announce itself with horns and a tail. That sometimes the monster wears a smile and shakes your hand. That the most dangerous predators might be those who seem the most ordinary. Bundy represents our deepest fears about human nature. That someone can appear totally normal, even exceptional, while harboring such darkness inside. It makes us question how well we really know the people around us, how easily we might be deceived by a practiced performance. The legacy of Ted Bundy serves as a chilling reminder of the complexity of human nature and the depths of depravity that can exist behind the most charming facade. His case has influenced how we understand serial killers, how law enforcement investigates such crimes, and perhaps most importantly, how we perceive the concept of evil itself. In the end, Bundy's story is not just about one man's descent into monstrosity. It's about the masks we all wear, the faces we present to the world, and the uncomfortable question of what might lie beneath. Sometimes the most important lessons come from the darkest stories.